Oh, all right, live. We're back on.
We're live. We're on G's iPhone. He saved the day. We're going to blow up his data, but it doesn't matter because we're here, and we completely cut Sam's horrible internet off, and we're running on the phone. So we're ready to go. G, anyway, man. Let's try this again.
For the fourth take.
For the fourth take. Ready, set, go.
And this is working over here, so we'll just kind of run. Oh, wait. So
no, that's not working. That's not working.
So where are we at with the show? What do you want to talk about? Let's get into it. Let's get into the thick of things and just dive right in.
We're talking about bike setup. We're talking about that. We're talking about some old school bike setup.
Okay.
I was trying to pull up the comments here.
Let's go ahead and put a fork in that. Move on. What's next? Bike setups. Yeah, bike setups were pretty lame. They've evolved, and that's that. It's nice for me. I've actually experiencing running a longer bike and putting the bars back Chicago. So things have come full circle in terms of bike setup. Next.
Yeah. Anyway, I was trying to pull up the comments so we could read the comments. You guys send some stuff in. We'll see if we can see it here. Looks like we got a few people viewing in.
You guys can give us key comments, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
You guys watching the show over there?
We'll have Nick and Walker give us some key comments.
Some other guys here.
All right. So
anyway. Now that we're back on track, we're a little flustered right now. We got the coffee bar in the back. We got G here. We got our mic set up. Hopefully you guys can hear everything. Let us know if you guys over there, if anything's working or not working.
We can see comments here.
Oh, we can? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
No, this is bad, and I apologize. G's definitely saving the day on this one. So shout out to Greg for being here. Otherwise, we probably would have just cut this thing.
Blown out my data.
And it looks like we only have 8 people viewing, so everybody else pretty much completely bailed on us.
Yeah, we'll get to those sprints uphill, downhill, whatnot, clipped in.
So G,
difference, of course.
Watching the video, if you guys were even able to see that, it kind of shows a little bit about, there's been a lot of controversy lately about BMX and what things need to change to be different and how things can be better. You came from an era when there was obviously a TV show, there was multiple, you could race every weekend, there was multiple classes, there was big payouts, there was opens like we just saw, and kind of give us a little insight of what it was like then versus what you see now.
Well, yeah, I mean, in terms of my own personal experience of racing back then, it was really cool. You had the ABA, which is also known as the USA BMX, and of course you had the National Bicycle League, and the National Bicycle League was the opponent of the ABA. But long story short, both of the sanctions took care of the pros for the most part. They competed against each other, but in a healthy way. The NBL pretty much, the ABA and the NBL both had mini-series for the pros, which was kind of cool. So aside from giving out a large prize purse for the nationally top-ranked riders at the end as they accumulate points. They've also done mini-series in lieu of pro. So they've taken Pro Open in lieu of Pro Open. They've created a little mini-series. So they used to do like Pros in Paradise. ABA used to do Pros in Paradise. See, I
didn't even know that.
Yeah, they did Pros in Paradise where you pretty much race Pro Open. They took even Single A Pro, Double A Pro. They took all these different points and put them all into a bucket, and whoever came out on top got a free trip to Hawaii.
Oh,
and the ABA was able to sell against that and get someone to sponsor that, and of course probably pay for the trip, etc. And then the NBL, of course, did a pro series where they were giving out neat things such as S10 Chevy pickups, motorcycles, and big briefcases of cash. And they were doing that in both Pro Open and also Double A Pro. Back then, and that was pretty cool. So you always had a series within a series. You always had 2 series. NBL had 3 series going on concurrently. They had the Pro Series, which was a year-end title, a Pro Open, a mid-year Pro Open Series, and a secondary Pro Elite Series. I know that sounds kind of convoluted. And of course, the ABA was giving out a lot of stuff. They did the Monster Cross thing and gave away motorcycles, cash, and they sold against that. They teamed up with GT. And partnered up with Fox Sports. To,
more importantly, you could race. You guys could race.
Yeah, you could race. You could make money. There was at least 25 pros back then. I think we've quantified 25 pros back then making at least, in terms of selling time, $2,500 a month. And there was, you could go out there and make a lot of cash. Not only in terms of prize money, both days. You could race Pro Open and Double A Pro, or Single A Pro and Pro Open, whatever. And of course you had cruisers. So you can conceivably go in and race 3 different classes, make a bunch of money, 2 days of racing, race like 24 to 30 different laps throughout the week and get a lot of repetition in, of course. And then of course you would do that at least 30 times a year. If you raced 30 times a year, you were burnt out because you were putting in at least, if you were good, you were putting in at least a couple dozen laps every race weekend.
Now, one of the things that people have talked about in the past on the show, people have commented in and said, hey, you should be able to, every race should be a pro race, everything like that. I grew up or I turned pro rather towards the end of that era when every race was a pro race, but that was starting to phase out, as where your generation was like the main generation where you could race everything, but you guys were kind of anti that. You're like, hey, we need a pro series. Like you said, we're racing 30 plus weekends a year. It's hard to focus. South Park's a big NBL race going on the same weekend as Atlanta, Georgia ABA, and it was kind of all over. Although we wouldn't get the double sanction things going on anymore, you guys were a big component of, hey, we need a series, and now that's got scaled down because then you could race everything, then you had 2 series, then you had 1 series, and then you dropped open, and then you dropped cruiser, and then so now it's kind of really completely flopped the far opposite. Was it kind of difficult racing all those races all the time, and kind of like, do you want like that more middle point, as you think kind of the way to go?
Well, I think it really came down to your support from not only your sponsors, but more importantly, what your body can take. What can you take mentally, because we did put in a lot of laps. And of course, racing back then in the 90s and into the early 2000s, it was war. I mean, you had to bring a serious UFC mindset, a boxing mindset where, you had to go in and protect yourself. You had to watch your front wheel because it was going to get taken out. You had to watch yourself in the corners because you were going to be taken out. There was a lot more action back then. We were racing flat pedals, tracks were more wide open. And of course, there was a big fitness component where you had to be able to repeatedly pedal, 300 to 400 meters at a time, as opposed to today where you snap out of the gate and then it's just pretty much almost a pump off. It's it's all about who has the best skill or who has the best two or three pedals to gain the advantage over the competitor. And then of course you have lane choice. So racing today is a lot different than yesterday in that regard. But yeah, I mean, I can I don't know where we're going with this, but yeah, I mean, racing today has definitely dwindled down since yesterday. And
I would kind of disagree in the respect that like racing's pretty gnarly, man. I think there was a time when like it was a little bit more single file and more gentleman stuff, but like I think racing now is like, in my opinion, one of the most aggressive that it's been in many years.
In terms of what?
Just like you said earlier, how you said you got to watch out, somebody's going to axe your front wheel, they're going to dive bomb. Like, I think there was a point where like, even in maybe probably towards the end of your racing career, where it was kind of like, all right, we're all getting paid, race to the first turn, everybody cruise, and then it maybe changed a little bit more. But then there was, with lane choice being in now, like you're not safe second place in a moto.
Sure.
Because the motos are so stacked and points are so tight and everybody's trying so hard to make that 8-man. Like second place in a moto, dude, you're getting dive bombed by the Argentina guy that you had no idea who he was in the last turn for second place in a moto.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot more aggressive international riders on the American scene or even the World Cup scene. And, during my era, I mean, we raced pretty much the same 25, 30 core guys every weekend. So there was a lot of grudges that were there was a lot of paybacks on the following weekend if you couldn't pay him back because you took some guy out in the semi. Well, the guy
I like that though.
Yeah.
I like that though. I like that you guys had a little bit of attitude and a little flavor to you.
Sure.
And it was like, screw you, man. You took me out last weekend.
Yeah.
I'm going to blast you over a turn this weekend.
I remember accidentally crashing in front of Brian Foster in an S turn in Evansville. And he crashed, and I think it was in a quarter semi or something like that. And he kind of said, he had a little remark. He didn't really get it. He didn't really have a temper when he got up, but he was basically like, "Hey, G, I owe you one." Got on his bike and rode away. So it was like, okay, well, he owes me one, so I just better watch my front wheel, and next time I get on the gate with him. And that's what was so unique about racing back then. Of course, then you race guys like Purse, and you race guys like Levesque, and we just raced each other so darn much that it got hard mentally. It really did. Because,
for sure.
Because, it would be like, Conor McGregor and Mayweather, or rather, just getting into the ring and boxing every week in the same opponents. It gets old really fast, and it's like, oh man, that guy, I got a right cross on him, and I know he's going to want to, take me out the next race. So you had to come in, you were getting on that flight. You weren't really excited, but you were more like on the defensive side of things when it came to racing back then. So.
Yeah, as we're now, it's kind of like, oh, well, I'm not going to do that because I only get 10 chances to race this year.
Yeah.
So I can't throw one away trying to take some dude back. Otherwise, that's a big chunk of my season because I crashed this weekend. And if I crash next weekend, there's a fifth of my year that is completely gone.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So.
But I did kind of like that. I like the fact that you guys had a little attitude and a little little personality and stuff like that, and weren't afraid to kind
Sure.
of get in each other's faces, which you see every now and then nowadays. I just think maybe not quite as much as you used to. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, I agree. So.
Yeah. And what do you think of like kind of just the racing aspect then? Like we're talking about the TV stuff and how they were able to be on TV. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's something that we can't do now. And
Yeah.
you were able to fight for big dollar sponsorships because of that. And what do you think if that was to kind of play into somehow we were to get racing on TV nowadays?
Well, I think it comes down to buying those spots on television. So buying those spots from Fox Sports, buying those spots from ESPN. That's what those guys were doing back then. ESPN2 was big back then, and Fox Sports was they were looking for content. So I don't know how much those spots are back then compared to today. So it comes down to a production company seeing the value and seeing the return on buying spots, making a production happen at BMX races consistently, and then of course, selling against it, and then see if it can get sponsors coming in and adding and padding the pro purse. And that's pretty much how the ABA was doing it. That's how the NBL was doing it, and they weren't really truly coming out of their own pocket to pay for those.
Gotcha.
Except with the exception of the 100% pro payback, which is still the same as it is today.
Yeah. Now, one thing that I thought, I listened to Dale's podcast with John Paul, and I disagreed with a few of the things he's had to say, but I agreed with a lot of them. One of the things that I really liked that he had to say is he said, maybe worry less about the fans in the stands and maybe put on a produced race where there's so much good media out there. You can get your own so much coverage. What would you think of if we can't get on TV? What about just some kind of produced event that goes straight to the internet?
Yeah, I mean, again, it just comes down to selling against it. If you put on a production for the internet, you got to have someone to buy that, and you got to have someone to sponsor that and provide more money and take that money and cover your production cost, and then whatever's left over, you go ahead and put that in the pro purse. That's the way you can make it work.
Yeah, cool.
But that's too much work. I mean, that's very convoluted, and we're far from that until someone decides to step up and do that and has a great valued conversation with the folks over at USA BMX and see if that's something they want to do.
Yeah, definitely, man. I think it'd be cool to do, and I think that's one of the advantages that we have of like social media stuff nowadays, and even what you're seeing right now, that we can just jump on and kind of share our opinion or do something like that.
Yeah.
One thing we did, we got a lot of people commenting in and wanting to ask you some questions and stuff like that.
Let's get to some questions.
So, how's your battery doing? Do you need to plug that power in at all?
I think it's fine.
Okay, I think here's your power cord.
Okay,
guys, we working over there? Is it playing all right?
I've got 6%, so I'm not even trying.
You're not even trying? Okay, cool. Fair enough. As long as it seems like we're working, guys. We can't really see too much in the feed.
Is the audio good? Can you guys hear us?
Yeah, he hasn't even checked. One thing I need you guys to do, since we've had such a mess and it looks like we're slowly starting to get our viewers back up, if you guys could do me a favor and just go ahead and share this link again, see if we can get some people out there.
Yes. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I tried to get it going again, but it looks like maybe it's working a little bit again.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So that's good. That's good.
I don't know what that is, but
yeah, that might be old. Let's see. Some people want to talk about, can you break this is more some training stuff. Can you break down the benefit of the 3 types of sprint, uphill versus downhill versus flat, and does it really matter if you're clipped in or not while you're doing them? Thanks.
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about sprint training. I mean, sprint training is just, for my athletes, I use it as a tool to work on mechanics, so their position, and of course, you can look at that as an alternative to going to the track and spending time on the bike, which is very important because going to the track, as we know, is very expensive. You got to put your bike in a car, you got to drive to the track, and you got to pay for the fees. So, and then you get a small window to be on the track. So I think sprint training in general, for the most part, it offers a lot of value for training away from the track, getting a lot of saddle time, which is important. And of course, in terms of sprint training, you're working on your acceleration, and it depends on what kind of sprints you do. So, if you're going to do flat ground sprints, then you're working on specific power. If you're going to go uphill, then you're working on a little bit more strength power. If you're going downhill, then you're working on more speed strength. So it just depends on what your needs are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and where you're at. If you guys were,
and maybe what race you have coming up too.
Yeah, and I think for the most part, I think if you were to pick one sprint that you could do, I would say a nice flat long box sprint, or even a slight long box downhill jump sprint would be totally perfect. And you go long as you want. I mean, you could really focus on either going a short distance and really focusing on that small little area of acceleration that's important to the first jump, or you can go ahead and bring that long. That way you can go ahead and work on your top end speed, work on that acceleration with top end speed as a combination. And of course, If you go longer than that, then you're working on your leg speed, say, after the first turn. So there's all kinds of ways to slice it. But in terms of using clips versus flats, I was going to say claps.
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 The clips are clapped.
Yeah, in terms of like flats versus clips, I think whatever you're racing on is fine. If you want to go ahead and switch it up and bring in some accessory muscles, some adductors, some abductors, which are pretty much they help guide the extension and flexion of the quad and the hamstring and the hip and knee extension. So if you guys want to go ahead and bring in flat pedals, I think that's great. It's always good to switch up the stimulus, which is very important because we tend to adapt. So, but more importantly, it's just good to just get on the bike while you're away from the track and sprint. Any kind of sprint training is going to work, and I think really the challenge for most BMXers is just to get motivated and go out there and ride the damn bike.
Yeah, I would agree. So it kind of depends on, to answer your question in short, it depends on what you guys have going on, but do it all. Another good one we had ask, so you're racing the World Championship. We're obviously going to be talking about Worlds. One thing that we're not going to be able to do tonight is we're not going to be able to switch videos. We had some videos planned, but since we had to ditch the computer and go run everything off the phone, we're just going to kind of just do a little Q&A, bring Nick on, and more just Q&A style.
Let's do it.
So let's see. Why are you racing AM when you train and ride like a pro?
Train around.
You're going to be racing World Championship in the 35+ class.
Challenge. Correct.
So give some people some insight of maybe why you decided to race that class versus Masters and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of know myself, but it's good to.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you a little backstory. Yeah. I mean, let's face it. I'm 43 years old first and foremost, and it's been 7 years since I've raced, and I'm racing the challenge class, which is an open class. So, and in my defense, I looked at the start list just from the American side of things, and there's about 11 or 12 former pros that are in that class. So, sure, my credentials as a pro might be, it might be pretty good compared to some of these other guys that, you got Harry Larry in there, who's a legend. Of course, he's older than me, but it's a 35+ open class. So. I look at it as, it's a class where everyone has a vast array of experience. So if I were to race Masters, I don't think I would have fun, to be honest with you. So I'm going in there just, on 2 months of training. I haven't raced BMX officially in 7 years. I've been racing road bikes, but a road bike has pretty much been somewhat of a wheelchair because I'm dealing with some major injuries. I'm dealing with a neck injury, so it's been really, really hard just to do sprints. I'll do a sprint or I'll do a gym session and my neck goes out. So I'm constantly doing traction and chiropractic work and acupuncture work right now. This is all to try to have fun at Worlds. So, but yeah, I'm just racing Worlds just to have fun, really. I mean, win, lose, or draw, I'm there to have fun and participate, and I want to test out the product that the USA BMX is putting on. I mean, luckily I was able to get some people to sponsor it, so I just want to have a little bit of fun with it and test out the product of the Worlds experience as an amateur. I've coached at the Worlds. 2007, I was the head coach when Kyle Bennett won. And so from a coach's perspective, it's a lot of stress. And honestly, I just want to go and have fun. I think if I were to race Masters, I would take it too serious. And, I want to be able to just get on the gate and laugh and smile and talk on the track. Hopefully I don't get disqualified, and be able to go out and hopefully be able to go out with some of the guys and have a few beers that night and really, really enjoy the whole experience and be able to give feedback to USA BMX on that experience, because everyone is belly aching about the cost. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what that experience is all about.
You're just going to be a racer. Challenge. You're going to be a racer and have some fun.
I'm going to be a racer. I mean, let's face it. I mean, I've only been racing I haven't been racing for seven years, and I've only been on the bike for 2 months, and you've seen my progression. It's been a tough one. And the bottom line is this: if I were to go and race Masters, like I said, I'm not going to have any fun. I'm going to be racing you. I mean, and you're what, 30?
32.
32. I'm
Yeah.
43, so you know
Fair enough.
I'm 11 years old. You're 11 years younger.
You're
than
in
me.
your right class. You're going there to have
Well, the
fun.
funny thing is, it's 35 plus, so I'm 7 years older than the youngest guy that's going to be in that class.
But at the end of the day, like, you're looking to go there and just have a good time. You're not trying to take home a jersey, not to say I am or anything like that.
Yeah, well,
but you're just going to like, hey, I want to have a good time. I want to go to the World Championship and I want to have some fun and see what happens.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been subliminally playing everyone out and saying I'm going to win. I'm training to win, and you know, and that's the only way I know how to do it. So I'm definitely, you know, if I go in and blow it, I go in and blow it. I don't really give a shit. But I tell you what, I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to go ahead and race to win. And you never know. You know, I was telling these guys earlier, I'm definitely not going to race down to these guys, because when I qualified, I got on the bike spontaneously at the February qualifier race, and I got my butt worked.
Yeah.
I barely qualified to make the world's team. I got fourth in the semi. I almost got past. Lance McGuire, who was a former AA pro, who was in my moto, got fifth. So that's how deep the talent is in that class. So again, there's 11 or 12 former pros in there racing the challenge class, which again is an amateur class. And also, in my defense, there's also some current masters racers that are participating in the 35 plus open challenge class. So
we're texting Sam right now asking about his internet, so he must be on the plane.
I'm not going to.
No, it didn't work, Sam.
Okay, so that's that. So that's Worlds. I'm doing it. I'm not doing the full USA BMX amateur circuit or have any ambitions to do that. This is just a one-time deal. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to having a beer when it's all said and done.
Sweet, sweet. Let's see, just some more training questions. We won't get into all these too crazy, but one of them's talking about how important is it to stay on the same gearing? Everyone has different views on this. Should you have a training gear and a race gear, or use the same gear all the time, especially for like nationals like Vegas? Everybody seems to switch gears. I mean, me personally, I know I change my gears a lot when I'm doing my training stuff.
Sure.
I don't really change a ton when I am racing.
Yeah.
But I do see, like, when you go to a track like Vegas that is so small.
Yeah.
I mean, certain riders, I see that you can change your gear.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Nick. Nick, you were in Vegas. Did you change your gear for the Vegas National, or did you run what you normally run?
No, I changed it.
Yeah.
Did you?
You go down. You
Yeah.
go up or down?
Yeah.
So
Okay, he went down.
there you go. So when you do, there's nothing wrong with changing your gear, especially when you're going to a place like that. Like, Nick's not going to run the same gear that he runs in Vegas that he's going to run at the Worlds on a Supercross hill. But maybe I don't see people like having a specific training gear. Like, I'm going to put a 13 on the back and do gates on it and then race
Sure.
on a 15 or 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, my best advice is just, you know, train on the gear that you're going to race with. And I think in terms of picking a gear, I've always, you know, people overanalyze gearing, and I used to do the same thing. But here's the bottom line: I like picking a gear that, number one, you can get out of the gate comfortably with. You still have enough meat underneath your feet while you're heading into the first turn, and you have enough gear to where you don't spin out when you get down to the last straight. And if you have that issue, then you just need to train. But for the most part, I suggest picking a gear that, for the most part, that everyone's somewhat running in the class, and go ahead and train around that gear. Now, in terms of like having to go down at a race, you know, if you're feeling slow, look, then you need to go get some more activation and go get some sprints in before the lap. I think that's the best advice that you could do, because the bottom line is this: let's just use even gears, for example. If you were to go from a 44 to, say, a 43 on a track like Rockford, well, dude, I mean, okay, yeah, you're going to feel faster, but everything needs to move quicker.
Yeah.
You know, your gate reaction needs to be quicker. You got to get on top of the gear quicker. You got to get on top of the pedals quicker, rather. And you got to be able to hold and you got to be able to spin and hold that longer all the way down the first straight. And of course, you're going to wind out by the time you get down to that third straight. So changing gears, it's only going to be best served in a small track such like a Vegas National. If you're running a 44, yeah, going down to a 43 is going to be totally beneficial.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
Simple, pretty easy.
Well, I think we could talk a lot about training questions. We had a lot of stuff going on. Some people are talking about, maybe we'll try to run through these real quick. Give a super quick answer on some of them.
Okay.
What would you do you have a new rider just turn expert, to keep their motivation, keep them in the game? You know, going from intermediate to expert can
Sure.
sometimes be hard.
Sure.
What's your quick response on maybe keeping the rider motivated and
yeah,
pumped
well,
up?
I mean, I guess I can go long on that one, but the bottom line is this: when you're going through the progressions of going through from, you know, beginner to intermediate to expert, expert, there's a lot of gratification. So you have to look at it as a long game and an end game. Where are you going with it? And have some long-term goals, because it will be frustrating when you move from intermediate to expert. And of course, you're not going to see the normal success that you're finding when you're going from beginner to intermediate or intermediate to expert. So you got to configure your goals. You know, you want to start working on, you know, maybe targeting a few of the guys in the class and see about, you know, hey, can I beat them in a moto? Can I beat them in a qualifier? And all of a sudden you're going to find yourself getting faster and start working on beating these guys in the main event. So you have
maybe just set your goals small. Maybe say like, hey, I just turned expert. I'm not going to win the next national like I was intermediate. But if I can start beating these guys in motos and work my way up.
You change your perspective, you're going to change your results. So the bottom line is you don't want to get frustrated. You know, getting frustrated is always going to be part of the game going from intermediate to expert.
All right, one quick thing. Let's see. I want to hear your top mistake that riders make. Could that be on the gate, during training, whatever? What's the top things that come to mind that people don't realize they do or don't do? You give mine, and then or you give yours. And I'll give mine.
I think in terms of a top mistake that I see riders doing, and not necessarily mine that I've coached in the past or current, and just riders in general, I think riders just tend to forget to race with their heads. I think they focus too much on how their legs feel, how they're feeling physically, and all of a sudden that is detrimental to their racing, because you know, it doesn't lead with the head. I always used to tell David Herman, you know, before every World Cup race, David would just be like, oh man, I'm feeling physically kind of funny. I'm not feeling all that great. And it's like, hey, it doesn't matter, man. You got to race with your head. So therefore you got to lead with your head. You got to lead with your mindset.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things for me is I see a lot of people in practice when they're goofing around, they're messing around, they're the king of practice. You know, if they didn't get a good gate, they shut down or everything like that. And then they get into the big race situations and they win their motos and struggle when it gets to the single elimination round because they don't race locally or something like that, or they don't put any pressure on themselves locally. So then they freak out when they go to a big national, and their head kind of isn't used to that. You know, and I think racing locally is a big thing that I know I preach that a lot, and not because I run a local track, because I see all these kids who come out to the track and they play it cool guy and they win practice, and then they don't make the mains at the nationals because they haven't raced in 3 months. You know, so I think that could be one of the biggest things is use your local track, use your local races to figure out what you're doing right or wrong, and adjust that so you're ready for the big nationals.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. That's called autogenic conditioning. I've experienced that before, where, you know, I've just trained to the first turn and didn't have the conditioning after the first turn, and I've even done it at a world championships where I felt awesome all the way throughout qualifying, and I was pretty much just coasting down the last straight, and that ended up biting me in the butt because come main event time when it counted, I forgot how to race that last straight fast and hard. Well, so autogenic conditioning is a big one. Check that one out. It's all about programming what the body needs to do, and I think, like you said, doing full laps racing and getting dirty in the dirt, getting those handlebars into people's guts, that's all important.
And just like kids they'll do the same gate and same first jump every single time until that main event. And they hit the gate, they pull up because they do something different. And until you put yourself in that situation, you're really ready. All right, guys, I think we can go on a ton more about training, but let's kind of switch gears a little bit. We got some more messages coming in.
Let's do it.
Nick, you want to come in and hang out with us and join us for a bit?
Is my hair real? Yes, my hair is real.
So we're gonna, guys.
And I don't have any gray hair for 43.
One big thing, I'm gonna say it right now. Phone lines are open, so feel free to jump on whenever. I can't put the phone number on the screen, but it's 1-800-207-1290. So we're gonna say that again. We got Nick Long. Nick, what's going on, bro?
Nick, what's the long game, man? What is the long game?
Long game? What do you mean the long game?
Oh, we got a doggy down here.
No, we got Mila in the house. We're keeping Mila in. G saved her from being the heat outside. Nick, what do you think we've been listening to so far, man? What's your thoughts on what you've been hearing?
Oh, good talk. I've just been waiting to put a fork in things. That's what I want to talk about.
We got some forks.
It's a 3/8 fork.
We got some forks. Hold on. I'll grab
20 mils.
I'll grab my fork too. Let's. You guys keep commenting. We want to hear. We're in the stick a fork in it segment, so go ahead, throw your comments on there. Oh, there you go. Somebody's even being rad and throwing the number on. We'll throw that one more time. It's 1-800-207-1290.
He thinks.
You're close. 1-800-207-1290. Nick, what should we stick a fork in first?
The only one I brought to the table this week was, what was it? Matching uniforms at team breakfast at the World Cups.
So like when you roll down and like you guys got to wear your kit and everything like that?
You're talking Team USA.
We're good. We don't have. King used to make us do it, but with staff, he's like, you know what? Bring a USA Cycling shirt. Maybe wear it to dinner, maybe not, whatever. But you know, you walk up and
cool
Team Russia's got the full matching kit on.
What's your opinion?
I say put a damn fork in it.
Be yourself.
Right in it, yeah. Be yourself.
Were you ever a uniform guy though?
No.
You were the guy that would take your team shirt and you'd cut the sleeves off. You'd make it a vest.
Yeah.
You'd wear your tattoos underneath.
I just couldn't do it. It wasn't even about the tattoos. It was just maybe just the uniformity of it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't buy into it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Right. It's not team sport.
All right. So Nick's gonna bring it in. He's gonna stick a fork in it.
Hey Walker, can you hook me up with some water?
I don't have a problem with it at times. I don't think you need to roll down in breakfast. I think there's nothing wrong with being professional at times here and there.
Yeah.
But I would agree that like, Mila's gonna rip some cameras down.
Come here, doggy.
Oh, guys, we're already getting a phone call. Should we take a phone call already? Perfect. Let's take a phone call.
We need some action.
This is a call for Samuel Willoughby.
I gotta
to
figure.
accept this call, press 1. To send
Want to give a shout out to Mike Day if he's watching.
Hello.
We've been talking a lot, so it's been fun.
Yo, what's up, Tyler? This is your boy Ant Dog out here in Edison, New Jersey.
Yo, what's going on?
Hemp dog. Hemp dog?
Yo.
That's Vic.
Yeah, Ant Dog.
No, Ant Dog.
What's up?
Ant
Carl?
Dog.
Oh, Ant dog.
Yo, what's going on, my man? How are you?
What's up, Ant dog?
Yo.
Turn your radio down, man. It's like shade 4 or 5. Turn your radio down. And we're gonna go to the next caller.
My bad.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, man. What you got for us? You're live on Cafe Willoughby.
Check it out. Yo, first of all, enough respect to, all three of y'all guys up there. Y'all keep this 46-year-old dude, motivated to get out there and keep trying.
Yep.
But there's one thing that nobody really talks about. What about, and I know I might get some flack for this, but what about the wives and girlfriends that keep us out there? The ones that wake up with us in the morning, drive with us to the track, pick us up when we fall, rub our shoulders.
Hey, man.
Yeah, we gotta show them some love, man.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll give them some love. I got a wife that drops me off at the airport and picks me up every single time. She's been there late when I've been laying in bed with concussions, making sure I've been getting to the doctor, or picking me up off the ground. And I know these boys got some good ladies behind them too. What do you think, fellas?
You don't make it without a strong lady on your back.
There you go. There you go. So shout outs to all the wives and girls behind all the pros doing their thing.
Hold on.
Well, not only the pros, but yeah.
If anytime you see me at a national, Mrs. Ant Dog is not far behind, okay?
There you go.
Matter of fact, she's going to drop. She can make it from Edison, New Jersey to Pittsburgh in 5.5 hours.
Killing it. Killing it.
All right, yo, good luck at the world, y'all.
Right on, man.
Got to say, yo.
Thanks for the call.
I still got a Robinson Amtrak here you can borrow if you want.
Is it a double XL? What's the top tube?
It's the Amtrak 92 first gen 21.25.
Yeah, double XL Amtrak 21.25. Yeah, I'm already on that.
He's on a 21.25. He's on the new Chase.
They scaled it down. Now that's considered a Pro XL Plus, as opposed to back then they called that the Amtrak, which is a Pro double XL.
Well,
so
hopefully I get to see y'all guys at South Park. If not, kill it.
Right on, man.
I'd love to see you at South Park, but hey, it's good to hear your voice, Ant Dog, and we'll see you on the WWW.
Cool, man.
Always, man. Always. Always, man. Tyler?
Yeah.
Grandma, I'll miss you at the reunion, okay?
Man, I'm going to get out there.
Dial it up.
I'm going to get out there, man. I'm going to get there. You tell the rest of the family I said hi.
All right, peace, man.
All right, brother. Catch you later. Bye.
All right.
I saw some other questions on there. Was there any good stick of forks in it?
Call them up.
All right, here's one. I think we might have chatted about it already. What do we got?
This one's interesting. You may have spoken about this, but should former pros stay in the normal amateur expert class as adults, or should they create a master's class for those high-level riders? So, I guess like a 40-plus master's class. That would be rad. I would do that. See, in road racing, it's pretty much open. Anything.
Are you talking about worlds though, or just like USA BMX?
I don't know.
races?
I think they said normal amateur expert class, so I assume that is ABA or USA BMX racing, normal racing.
You can't do that. The Vet Pro class doesn't even get enough guys. They're not getting enough dudes themselves. I think it's an issue of diluting the rider count.
Gotcha.
And you have guys like a Jason Carnes, for instance, that the dude won many, many years, but the dude works, like he's got fused wrists, like he's ready to race amateur and just have some fun, kind of like you're doing at Worlds, in my opinion. So I think the classes are fine. So we will not stick a fork in that one. That was a good question. But I don't think there needs to be. At one point, they were talking about doing like a veterans master's class or something that they were going to call it. But you're getting 10, 15 riders in vet. You don't need another.
I tell you what, in perspective, I race road cycling, and I've been able to race against in open classes. I race this class. It's a category 1, 2, 3 class, 35 plus, and pretty much everybody under the sun, former pros, former this and that. I'm racing with them. I'm rubbing elbows with them. I've been able to ride against guys that have raced in the Tour de France. I've been able to race against guys that are professional. So I think it's advantageous for these amateurs to allow pros to come in, because those amateurs want that experience. They want to be able to rub elbows with other guys that have good experience, have had former experience. I see value in letting pros race amateur class. Now, for me personally, I might race the Grands, but again, I'm not going to go in there and try to go get a NAG 1 plate or anything crazy like that.
Somebody said that we should stick a fork in the Vic Beam Nick Long controversy.
No, it's not even a beef yet. We're just kind of goofing each other right now. If it gets out of hand, then maybe we'll talk about it next week when Sam's here.
Yeah.
We're just kind of bullshitting.
But for right now, it's just some fun.
Right now, it's just all fun.
We don't need to stick a fork.
But I do got to put a fork in it question. Walker informed me.
Okay, what do we got?
What do we think about high-level A pros classing down and racing the 1724 class at the Worlds?
What can they race though? They can't race elite.
I think that's fine.
There's some people.
I think that's cool.
know, like Cam Moore is the only one I can think of off the top of my head.
He's an A pro. He's racing the challenge class.
He qualified to the main last year, so he gets an automatic spot. But he's winning A pro. Why not go for a shot at an elite spot?
Would he be able to race elite?
Yeah, you can race elite as an A pro. You can race elite. And then,
but that qualification process, dude, you got.
But would he qualify? No. What I'm asking though is, would he qualify? Because I agree with that, and I think it's stupid to be a top A pro and go back to race amateur. Kind of like I see some of the vet pro guys racing Greg's class instead of racing master with me. Yeah. But my only concern with that is it's super hard to qualify to race elite men. You know more about that than I do.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Could Cam qualify for the elite men class, or would he have to go to all the Supercross rounds?
No, it didn't really some of the Supercross rounds came in hand, but even, I think some of the people who qualified for the World's team didn't race the World Cups.
Gotcha.
Like Jeff. Jeff made the World's team. He didn't do either of the World Cups.
He just has some World Cup experience, though, and he's a top dude.
And he did well at
Sounds too convoluted, man. Sounds too mountain bike, too red velvet rope policy.
It's just what I think is like, why, I don't know, not being an age thing. Like, G's racing amateur.
Yeah.
He's
I'm racing a challenge open class.
Yeah. But like these guys, why not try to progress? Why not try and go forward instead of?
I would say, in my opinion, I would say, if you can try to qualify for the elite thing as a pro, as an A pro, especially a kid like him, because he wants to, I would imagine, continue the sport in the future.
Yeah.
Go for it. If those spots aren't going to be a possibility, then I don't see racing the World Championship in the USA as a problem.
Yeah.
To stay amateur, but I just think it's pretty hard to do it. I think it might be hard to qualify.
Stefan says he agrees with Nick. Stick a fork in it.
Yeah.
So it's also not a shot at Cam.
You're using him as an example. He's
the only one that I knew as an example.
Let me get up to speed here. So I'm embarrassed to say I don't understand what you're talking about, but basically what you're saying is that Cam Moore, who races A pro, is racing challenge at Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have any problems with that. I mean, any opportunity for someone to race the World Championships, again, it's an age category, open category. It's not intermediate, expert, pro. I mean, these guys still have to go through the process of going and qualifying in respect to their own
I just think what Nick is kind of going on about is saying, like, hey,
why are you doing that? You should be trying to race.
You're a dude that supposedly wants to have a future, and we're not saying anything bad about Cam at all. It's just he's a top pro that kind of comes to mind for easy one of us, or any one of us. A guy like him should want something more to push himself to that next level. You know what I mean?
Try for it, and if you don't make it, then you go again next year. I don't think you should just, okay, I didn't make it, well, I can race this class.
It's an expensive proposition to be at the top level, man. I mean, it's starting to become a small group, a small gentleman's club. I mean, it's, because it's the rich get richer type thing when it comes to World Cup racing and going to the Olympics and getting these points, because, if you don't have the support to develop, then, you're not going to be able to go to these races to even get points. See what I'm saying? So
yeah, but I think that's a cop out in my respect, because
it's the truth.
I went to World Cups.
I think it's hindering our ability to develop riders. In my personal opinion, I think our pool of talent is going to get smaller and smaller because it's a rich get richer type thing. I see it in other sports. We see it in velodrome. We see it in road cycling. It's happening as we see it.
I think it depends on how bad you want it, though.
Does anyone agree with me?
I showed up to Madrid, Spain. I bought my own plane ticket. I showed up in jeans and a T-shirt. I made my main, and I got put on the USA team the next weekend.
Sure.
And you know what? I dressed as Barney on the week before and did kids' birthday parties to get enough money to buy that plane ticket.
Yeah, well, you did it right. You did it the right way. Yeah.
I see what you're saying, that it is a pain in the ass in that respect, and it's hard to make it there. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you want it, if there's a will, there's a way.
Yep, you got a phone call coming in. But the way you did it is really, really, really fucking hard.
Call for Samuel Willoughby.
Hello. Yo, you're live on Cafe Willoughby. What's going on?
There is a star nut in here, man.
So I've got this will kind of be long-winded on the topic of the pro payout. I've wondered for the last, 5-6 years, how come pros don't have their own merch? If BMX is going to model after, Supercross or whatever, go to a Supercross race, Chad Reed has his merch, Ryan Dungey has his merch. If all these guys are, right now Joris isn't running the #1 plate because he wants to run his career number.
Yep.
Why not capitalize on that? Why not have a Joris Daudet, T-shirt? I mean, if all these fans are up on the fence and they're watching the races, and then they run away when 5 novice starts, obviously the fans,
I would agree with you. No. I think it's a great question.
My dad's been trying to do it. He's been talking about it for years, and it's just, you got to have somebody to fund it. You also got like those kids and those families who are watching the races. They got their own sponsors, and it's hard for
So it just kind of comes down to, that's a great question, but it kind of comes down to what it sounds like at this point. Nobody's just done it.
Yeah, just nobody's done it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nobody's done it, but I think it would be a great way. I think it might be a good idea for the trade teams to do themselves, like say Haro to make a 64 Nic long shirt and sell it, and you get a percentage of it, or Chase to do a 33 Joris shirt, or you could even take it further. And back in your day, everybody had signature parts. The Warlock had his own grips, and there's less and less signature parts, and there's less and less of that stuff where guys are getting royalties off of. So I don't know if it's the industry just wanting to be cheap and maybe not wanting to share in that percentage. I don't know, but that's actually a really good question, and something that it sounds like there's no reason behind it other than just nobody's done it.
Yeah, no, I like the idea. I think that's a great question.
Profit margin on T-shirts is huge. You can get a 1-2 print, T-shirt for $5-6 and sell it for $15. And I know most of you guys, the pros, you guys are flying, but if the Tuesday before you leave for a national, you just ship a box to your hotel, then do the same thing when you leave. There's got to be profit.
Yeah, I don't think that any of the guys are really
to supplement the income.
Yeah, I don't think that any of the guys are probably really interested on hustling T-shirts on the side, because then that makes things a little bit trickier and kind of takes away from their potential racing. But I think that it would be cool if like your bike shops, your J&Rs and Dan Comp, especially like a Dan's Comp that does sponsor like Nick and some of the other guys, it'd be cool if they did have some of those shirts. I agree with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but Nick, speaking of that,
I'm just waiting to see somebody jump on that and capitalize on that. If you guys are, if you're going to run your career number or whatever, go for it. Why not have a Nic Long 64 T-shirt, hat, sample those number plates that they hand out at Grand, those thin, flimsy ones.
Yep.
Have a replica one of the plate that you run. And how many kids come up to you guys after a race and say, "Hey, can I have your number plate?" Well, sure, I have one right here. It's $5. I'll sign it for you, and then they have a replica of your number plate.
Yeah, because you only have. Yep. Yeah, no, you're right, because you only have one number plate to give out, and that's going to be the one that's going to be on your bike. But hey, I already gave that one away. But hey, there's replicas over here. We can sell them. I think that's a great idea. I think it comes down to this. How many true buyers are there when you go to a race? So I think that's the challenge, because in our sport, I don't even know what that number is anymore in terms of guys that actually buy and pay retail for stuff. So it's got to make business sense if you're going to go ahead and put a big nut out there and print out thousands of dollars worth of product. It's got to make business sense, and someone needs to test it and see if it works. But I think what you're talking about in terms of unfortunately I don't pay attention too much to the Supercross and motocross scene, but I do pay attention to NHL, the National Hockey League. They have a players association, and these guys are pretty much making merchandise and they're licensing it, and they're giving a kickback to the players association, which helps funds for all sorts of things in terms of the players. So you know, if the sanction were to come up with something like that, you could probably do something like that where those funds maybe perhaps go not directly into pros' pockets, but maybe it can go into prize money. That might be an idea. But it comes down to finding buyers and really coming down to, hey, who's going to buy this stuff? Is it going to make business sense in the first place? And if, you know, are these guys willing to pay for it? I mean, I think for me, looking at it like that, being a guy that sells his own products, that's the challenge.
Cool, man. There you go. What do you think?
Cool. Yeah. I'm just waiting to see somebody do it. I think, you know, if you're going to a race and maybe, you know, you have bad luck on the track, but you sold, you know, 10 T-shirts and 20 number plates and you still go home with some cash, I mean, it would be another way to supplement some income.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have to be something either through the sanction or through the bike shop. I mean, Nick, get your opinion on this one. I don't see too many pros wanting to get T-shirts printed, ship them out on Tuesday in between motos, like slinging shirts when you got an hour between motos to your semi. And then if the shirts don't sell before you fly out on Sunday morning, go to FedEx and make them dropping off and stuff like that.
You would need distribution.
Yeah, well, that's what I think he's talking about. You're talking about having the pros be selling them themselves, right?
Well, I mean, just to jump on that, you know, marketability of yourself and your career number and capitalizing on that as a way to supplement, you know, your race. So you're not going to a race and thinking, well, man, I have to get at least a third to make my money back.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, honest opinion, would it's something that you would want to do?
I like the idea.
Would it something that you would do in between motos, though?
No, absolutely not. I mean, there's no way.
Big swastika.
You got to remember.
No way we're gonna sit there and, you know, even, you know, race Friday, Saturday, and then sit there Sunday and try and hustle T-shirts out or hats. What I think the best way for somebody to do it would be even the USA BMX. I mean, they do their race wear under where you sign up. Like if they had top 15 or top 20 pros and they made shirts for them, and either they gave a percentage of the money to those riders as like a prize for getting the top points in the, you know, the year in before, or putting it towards the prize money. Everybody, I mean, they wouldn't keep doing those USA BMX shirts if they weren't selling them. So it's been a long-term business for a long time.
But USA BMX licensed their logo to that T-shirt company, which is TB Trophies. So.
But it sounds like it's something that could be done regardless. So cool, man. I think that's a great idea. Thanks for the call.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Next, someone give us a call.
All right, so while you guys are working on giving us a call.
Give us a call, Costa.
So we got 1-800-207-1290. We got about 15 minutes, so we're going to jump on here before we shut things down. A couple more forks in it that we found from my Facebook page. The last straight rule. What do you guys think?
Last straight rule.
Yeah, that you can't cut off. I'm going to fork that right now. I think we might have already talked about that.
I agree, man.
That's a stupid rule, especially as amateurs, because you can't cut off down the last straight as amateur, but you can as pro.
Right.
I think if it's blatant, if it's like, if they crash really hard, maybe disqualification. But move over on them. Take their line.
Dude, I'm from the '90s, man. Put a fork in it.
Yep.
Shut them down.
Yeah.
Forks in that one.
Put them in the dirt.
Hello, you're live on Cafe Willoughby.
Run them into the scorer's table.
Hey, this is Orange Silva, Coach G. What's up?
What's up, Will? Oh, this one's for me. What's going on, Will? How you doing?
What's up? I have a question for you, Coach G.
Okay.
Oh, looks like I got another call. Ignore that one. It's all good.
Let me ask you about your opinions on coaches. Who's your favorite coach, and who's your least favorite coach?
Well, yeah, I mean, coaching, I mean, that's a tough one. You know, who's my favorite coach? Who's my least favorite coach? First off, I like a coach who could teach. I think the word coach is being misused left and right. You know, because coaches are sometimes just managers. They're chaperones. They could be trainers. I look at myself as someone that teaches, and what I'm teaching is pretty much, you know, my own personal experience that I've had on my bicycle racing, and also in coaching everything from beginners to winners at the highest levels. So in terms of guys that do it the way I do it, you know, again, it comes down to teaching. I like Tomas Allier because he's a peer of mine. He's doing the same thing. He's raced at the highest level. He's coaching at the highest level, and he's seen success in both his own personal racing and coaching. So I really like him. In terms of like least, I can't go there. I'm a high road type of guy. I don't have any least favorite coaches. I mean, You know, so maybe a guy like Wade Boots. I mean, he's goofy, but you know, again, I mean, he's just a coach. He's just a guy that's just telling somebody to wake up. Hey, we got to be at the van at this point. Anyone can coach, because coaching comes down to telling somebody what to do. And teaching is about explaining and nourishing and caring and for the most part, you know, becoming a partner and becoming, you know, getting on the gate with them. Not necessarily, but getting on the gate with them. You know, even before it happens, so to speak. You know, being a partner.
Just open the dog door.
Cool.
Yeah.
Will, you there?
Respectful. Yep, I'm here.
Cool. All right, Will. I hope that answers your question, man. And you know, with that said, as your coach, get back to work. Start sprinting. I'll teach you about it. I'll teach you about it later, when I get off the phone. All right, man. Take it easy. Be easy. Tell your brother I said hi. Hope he's getting better. Okay. Bye bye.
I will.
All right, we had another call in. Oh, cool. Looks like they left a voicemail. Handlebar position and why something that's not really a fork in it. Oh, we got another call. We're blowing up here on Cafe Willoughby. We're just gonna keep these rolling.
This is a call for Samuel.
Yo, you're live on Cafe Willoughby.
How's it going?
Good, man. How about you?
This is George. I know that voice like no other. What's going on, George? This is George from Renton. What's going on?
Man, you knew that from How's It Going? That was impressive.
Wanting to see, you know, what's going on with California gearing out there. Some coach rebuttals.
We're running them big, George. We're running them big.
What was the last thing you said?
Coach rebuttals. And Nick Long's dropouts that got modified recently.
Well, okay. So George, if you guys didn't hear, George talked about the infamous California gearing, and basically the concept is, you know, running a 50-18, which Donnie Robinson was doing way back when, way before everyone's doing it now. I'm actually looking forward to doing it. I want to test it out and see what it's all about. And so the California gearing thing is basically you get 2 extra revolutions using a 50-18. That was the concept, right, George? Versus the traditional 45-16, right? You get 2 extra revolutions using the 50-18. That was the California gearing concept.
If that's the case, why did you ask me for a 49.7 for World?
Oh, because because
the best part about
50 teeth.
The best part about George though is he knows what everybody's running because we're all hitting him up going,
well, George
I need some gears, man.
George from Renton, he's neurotic like that. I mean, he doesn't even watch races. He just looks at everyone's sprockets. Yeah, I want to test it out. I want to see what it's all about.
I just got to figure out who I'm going to not give free shit to anymore.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Coach rebuttals, we answered that back with when Will Silva came in, and then of course the last question was a reference to Nick Long's dropouts. What's up, Nick? What's going on with your dropouts? Is that what you said? Correct, George?
Yeah. So
Yeah, what's the question?
They got posted up this week. I made a little design suggestion. It seems like it got included. So Facebook's a pretty decent forum for that. What's up with those dropouts, Nick?
Yeah, I'm waiting for him still.
It picks it up just fine.
Okay.
What was it? Sorry.
Said you're getting some 5-inch long dropouts. It looks like.
Oh, I mean, I hope they're not that long, but I was trying to find a middle ground between that long frame that I have, which at the center of that dropout was 17 1/4, and then I just built this double XL just to try and ease some of the stress that has been put on my back, just with these back injuries I've had over the past couple 3-4 years. So right now I just have the stock dropouts, which in the middle I think is 15 1/2 maybe.
Somebody's going on.
And so that's why I've been waiting for these dropouts. But I think the new dropouts should be let me be able to put them at about 16, maybe 16 1/4 if I pull it all the way back.
I see. Well, why is Von Soffen hitting me up for some design support for some wheelie bar attachments for you then?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've just been dropping my front foot down so I'm at like 6 o'clock now when I do a gate start.
Just like this?
Yeah, so I'm just trying, I've had this body position since 2011, so 6 years now with this long frame. So I'm coming from ground up trying to figure it all out again.
All right, this conversation sucks. Let's put a fork in it. Let's put a fucking
water in your front wheel.
Yeah, put water in your front wheel.
I'll use your weighted wheel in the front.
Hey, that's good. We'll get an aerodynamicist and make sure we coat that weighted wheel with ceramics and see if we can get going faster down a Supercross starting hill. What do you say, George? All right.
So long as you eat salads, you're all good.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get those salads going. Any more calls? Hey, we had a voice. All right, George. Thanks for the call, man. We'll talk to you soon. Be easy, man.
Later, man.
Okay, see ya. Bye-bye.
All right, let's see if we had
George
any more
Costa, good
forks
guy.
in it.
He kept it.
Should USA BMX bring a... All right, so USA BMX getting rid of Pro Cruiser. Fork in it or leave it?
Oh, no, they should bring back Cruiser.
I think
Bring it back. Not that I would ever race it.
we need
but-
more racing.
just more opportunity to race.
opportunity to make
I'd
money.
say bring Pro Open back,
Yeah.
too. I love Pro Open. I
would agree.
It's just more experience. It's more laps. It's more opportunity.
Pro Open is back. You just can't race both on the same day.
Oh.
Well, you can.
You could. You just have to do back-to-back laps.
If you want to be like Corbin when he was racing Junior Man and A Pro at the same time, you can do it.
Better believe when I'm turning vet, I'm racing A Pro and Vet Pro, though. You better believe
So
it.
you can. I mean, the opportunity is there, but it is different.
All right, one more. I think we might have already talked about this. Elite racing Friday and Saturday versus Saturday, Sunday.
Keep it.
I like Friday, Saturday. I understand that the show's not really as real on Friday because, the amateur kids, a lot of the top guys aren't staying and watching.
Yep.
But also,
But they're not watching you guys either.
Double A, waking up on Sunday morning at 6 or 5 wasn't cool. I mean, if they made it later, then
Personally,
yeah, forking it.
I'll fork Friday, Saturday.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna fork Friday, Saturday, just because I think that
Do we still have a feed?
Yeah, this is probably just their crappy internet cut now.
Okay.
I'll fork Friday, Saturday because the more I learn about the industry and the team manager side of things and stuff like that, I'm weighing in more on that side than a pro side. From a pro side, I get what you're saying, and I think it's way better as a pro.
You're a trader.
It's way better as a pro to make race Friday, Saturday, but I think unless they do a pro spectacular Friday and regular race Saturday, then it should go back to Saturday,
Why
Sunday.
not race all 3 days?
Boom.
Problem solved.
That's it. I agree right there.
Friday, Saturday,
Friday,
Sunday.
Saturday,
Why not?
Sunday.
yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Cool. Thanks for the feedback on the feed.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Start running. Somebody thinks that you should wear your
Classic.
Vans clip shoes and your big number plate again. They were a fan of that. I'll see if I got any more stick of forks in it. I think we're pretty much
Shoes were cool. The ones I made.
we're pretty much done with that unless
Any more phone calls?
Yeah, we can get some voicemails going on. I think we had a couple voicemails.
Let's do it.
So I'll see if there's any more good ones.
Tim, why don't you call? You keep posting up the number, man. Give us a call.
Let's see. Here's a couple more. No, they're not really good ones. Why not more loyalty to companies who actually support the tracks? That's not really a forking it question. So we got some voicemails here. Let's see if we can pull up these voicemails. We're about done on the show.
Let's do it.
All right. I don't know.
Is there anything else that we need to cover?
Here's a
I gotta
voicemail.
do my long shot.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
A
Hold
little
on.
bit of delayed penalty.
Hi, my name is Rick Bean, and I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I do freestyle and a bit of racing, and I want to go to the Olympics. So I got 2 questions for you. So I got your number from the USA coach, Andrew Kramer. And I was wondering if you guys think it'd be easier to do the freestyle Olympics or the BMX Olympics for racing. And with the drug testing, do you get busted if you do the vape pen?
Do the what?
So yeah,
The
let me know,
vaping.
guys. Love the show. Chat soon.
All right. So that's
Wow.
Rick Bean.
Rick Bean.
Rick Bean calling in.
Want to know if it was easier to qualify for either BMX race or BMX freestyle at the Olympics? If you're transgender, that's a lower barrier to entry. I definitely would do BMX freestyle if you're a transgender. Seriously. Someone's going to do it. So I'm dead serious. Someone's going to pull that off.
Literally, they're going to pull it off. They're literally going to pull it off, and they're going to jump into freestyle.
Let's stick a fork in it.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them is going to be easy to qualify because you're only taking 9 dudes for freestyle, so that's only 1 in the country for freestyle and
Right.
or 2 in the country for racing.
Yep.
If USA qualifies, so I think you might just be better off just hitting the vape pen and just hanging out, living
the
the.
vape pen and just do YouTube videos.
Just do you.
yeah.
Rick Beam,
Beam.
Rick Bean, you do you, man. You do you.
Stick to Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, so we only got a few minutes left before we come up to the end of the show.
do we wanna
Let's
talk
hit
about?
Nick's long shot for the Worlds. What are we talking about this time?
This week we're talking about junior men.
Okay.
Junior men.
Did some research again. there was top 3, and a few of them I didn't really know, but I know leading the points is a Dutch rider, Kevin van den Grudenhall.
Perfect.
He's done well. I watched him in Papendal. He did awesome. Oh, hold on. We're getting a call.
No, keep talking. I'll tell this guy to hold.
Press 3.
Okay, all right, keep talking.
And then
All right, you're on hold.
last year's winner,
We'll get to
Maynard
you.
Peel,
Who is
also
this?
trains with Kurt.
Okay.
So
hold on.
He's going to be on the table for sure. Third place, who else did I have? Oh, I had Kai White, which I really like watching him ride. He's a big, tall rider from Great Britain, brother of Trey White.
Yep.
Really good rider. I've seen he won one of the Britain rounds, I believe. So he's going to be
In dramatic fashion, correct? Yeah, from like
past his
last
brother
to
at the
first.
line, I think.
Oh, really?
Last
Yeah.
to first.
Nice.
And so those are the top 3 guys, I think. But I think my long shot is going to be Josh Boynton, which I actually just found out today that he might have been popped for a little bit of saucing.
Oh, yeah? Word?
A little bit of sauce. I don't know if it was
Where's he
Rose or
from?
what. Australia. He's an Australian rider.
Okay.
Oh, go figure.
It's Australian?
Australian.
Australian?
I'm not too sure. I don't want to start rumors, but he's been.
Let me guess.
he
Is
did
it
well.
is it for dick pills for a hard on or what?
It could have been. It could have been Seattle.
Seahawks. That's the new thing in road cycling.
Those guys know how to party.
UFC too.
He did pretty well at some of the Australian rounds. I
Clomiphene.
think he could be a guy
Clomiphene
to
is
watch
what it's called.
at the Worlds this year.
Perfect. So give his name one more time. Nick's long shot
Josh
of the week.
Boynton
Josh
for
Boynton.
Nick Long's long shot.
There we go.
Nick
There we
long
go.
shot.
All right, G, you
All right,
got a call
we
on
got a
hold.
phone call. You're on the air. What's your name? How you feeling?
Hi, my name's Andre. I'm doing good. I just had 2 questions. About the whole, do you guys think that, 24 rider thing is going to, stick? Is that set in stone for the Olympics?
Yeah, I think it is, man.
And I just saw that the rider rep just opened up with the UCI, for rider reps for, the leads and all that stuff. Who do you think would be best for that? And, who do you think is going to step up and do that?
The rider rep for what?
For the UCI.
Gotcha.
For,
Okay.
for the UCI.
Yeah.
Those are actually a couple good questions, and it shows that you kind of got some knowledge into what's going on. So I'll give you credit on both of those questions and kind of some stuff that most people wouldn't know about. Question number 1, I'm pretty sure the rider thing is a done deal, right, guys? Yeah, I think
so.
yeah,
They're not gonna change it.
yeah, they're not going to change it. They already put it out there. They're not going to go, oh, sorry, I think we made a mistake. We're going to change it. I think that is for at least the next Olympics. It's going to be 24. Beyond that, who knows? But I'm pretty sure for the next Olympics, that's it.
Crazy.
As for the,
I'd like to add to that.
Okay.
The 24-24.
Okay.
I think it's going to be interesting because you're really going to shut down opportunity for top talent to get on those countries. Teams that are going to be getting 3 rider spots. If it's going to be 24-24, the maximum number of starters you're going to have for top countries qualifying are to be 2. And of course, I think for women, you guys already covered this, right?
Yeah,
for
we did.
women, I think you're going to have a hard time finding talent that's capable of even riding a Supercross starting hill or a track rather, and it's too much of a challenge. Why do they do that? For equality?
Yeah, well, the thing is, and what people have to remember though, is you're not going to go to your top 24 in the world. You're going to only get X amount per country, so you're going to be getting 76th from some random country you've never heard of that struggles to get down a Supercross hill.
Yeah.
As far as
So it's the top 24 from the world that go?
no, it's not the top 24 from the world. It's the top
24.
You have to take. Go ahead.
I race elite for Peru, and I'm 19, so I was just thinking that since I'm the only elite, it's going to be tough to build points on my own.
It's going to be really tough.
For my country.
Or
Rich get richer.
the bottom 3, it's not really. It's kind of based on points, but they're based on points from your area, your C1 races,
Yeah.
and then your world's
So
performance. Really,
basically, you go to Peru and you start killing it, and you do your thing at the World Cups, and you make it to you qualify your country to the World Championship. And to be honest, you probably have a pretty good shot at making it to the Olympics because of how far down it's going to go. Because the top countries are only going to be getting 2 riders, and they're looking to get more countries into the Olympics, more countries involved. So we saw.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause
It's going to be tough.
It's definitely
yeah,
not though the
my
top
first
24
year
in the
elite,
world.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and then as far as the rider rep goes,
rider rep.
who do you think would be a good rider rep? What do you guys think?
I don't know. Hopefully he doesn't ride a mountain bike.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure what Yvonne's job
So
title
Yvonne-
is, but I
Nick
think
should
he
be a
would
rider
be
rep. I think he should
a good one.
go in for that.
Who, Yvonne?
Yeah.
So,
He'd be a good one.
so Yvonne, I think, is more of on the technical delegate side. He already works for the UCI,
Yeah.
so where Yvonne, so it wouldn't really be a position for him. I think Donnie's done it before. Donnie's done it before. Sarah Walker's been in it, so it'd be like he said, he represents. He wants you to do it. That's what he just said.
It'd be nice to get a rider rep up for USA BMX pros. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. To be honest, man, I don't know. Like, it'd have to be somebody who's still fairly involved in the sport. And,
I gotta stretch.
Who's still fairly involved in the sport. And
That's why you're racing challenge.
My back is blown out.
Maybe a guy like Afro Bob or something like that that's retired, because I don't think any current racer is really going to be interested in doing it. So you have to find somebody who's.
I mean, what's it pay?
Recent, probably a high five.
Now.
Probably a high five.
Now.
Yeah, probably a high five.
You're
yeah.
selling time, not value,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And who knows?
So that's a good question, but to be honest, man, I don't know. It'd have to be just really somebody who has the time and wants to dedicate it to it, and I don't know who that person is at the moment.
You're going to be paid 100 Swiss francs.
Cool. Thank you.
Right on, dude. Thanks for the call. You have a good one.
Later, bro.
All right, talk to you later. Bye. All right, let's see. It said that a voicemail popped in, but I don't know if we have any more voicemails. Oh, Rick Beam is calling from 666-6666.
That's a lot of sixes, man.
Perfect.
No nines in there?
Perfect. And what a waste. What a waste.
All right, where are we going with the show?
I think we're pretty much about done.
Couple
What do you
more minutes.
guys? What do you guys think?
I don't know.
I'm just seeing if there's any more good questions. I had some other stuff pop in.
We're getting some questions here on the feed over here.
Do you want to do any quick ones? We're up right about an hour, a little bit over an hour right now.
Let's see. Moto Phil for the games. Tyler and Nick, are you going to the next Tangent Pro-Am in Tahoe? I tell you what, Tahoe is beautiful. If you guys get an opportunity to go to Tahoe, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Track's terrible though.
That's okay, but it's an awesome. I have family up there, man. They'll take care of you.
Depends on when it is. I don't know. Depends on when it is, man. I got Worlds coming up, so. Oh yeah.
Freddie will be there, though,
I
don't
can't
worry.
believe Fitzwell's blowing it tonight. Actually, that is a great comment.
Fitzwell didn't come through.
Fitzwell didn't leave a voicemail, and I was very upset about that. We're actually hoping to call Fitzwell live tonight, but the loser didn't pick up his phone when we tried to call him.
He's in trouble with his wife, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
The info was that I got last week.
Miss Fitzwell called in last week for those guys.
He wasn't where he was supposed to be.
Yeah, he wasn't where he was supposed to be. So I imagine that Miss Fitzwell is pretty pissed off.
A tight leash on him.
So she's probably got him roped up. So anything else you guys want to add?
How about from my boy Derek here? Why don't more pros and ex-pros run tracks?
It's a hard job to get into.
It's a lot of work, man.
On my side, Vince McCurdy, as much as I love the guy, there's no way I'm taking his job. He's going to run that thing till he's dead, and I mean, all respect to him.
Well, that's his business, not his
job.
It's
his business.
Yeah.
Well, business and job, and it's his life. He knows what he does. And I mean, I can respect it, and I don't know.
I think it would be a good opportunity for some guys staying in BMX. I mean, being a pro that has done it, I think there's a lot of opportunity for a guy that can be a one-stop shop versus like a guy that's a track operator that would need to bring in somebody to do clinics and need somebody to do this. Yeah. It definitely makes it easier me being able to kind of be the one-stop shop for everything. Sure. But dude, it's a grind out there. Like I had summer camp today. I got at the track at 7:45. I'm gonna spend 60 hours at the track for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm gonna like jump on my bike for a week and a half and then go try to race Worlds.
Let's talk about tracks. I mean, every track has its drama. What kind of drama do you experience at your local track?
Dude, we don't really get into the drama too much.
You guys regulate it pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, there's always the family drama and stuff. And as a track operator, I can kind of sit back and chuckle at it more than anything because I've been in that I've been in that like, oh, did you hear what he said, she said stuff? And I think anytime when you have a small community like that, it can be a little like high schoolish, where I just think it's funny. I mean, there's definitely certain people that frustrate me and certain people I love and can't wait to see. Yeah. And as far as other tracks in the area and stuff, you know what? I just got to the point where I just stay in my own fence, and I'm gonna focus on building the best program that I can, and I'm not gonna worry about anything else beyond that.
Cool. Yeah. Sounds great.
Yeah.
No, it does. It seems like your program, your track is very drama free, and I've been fortunate enough to go out there for the last 2 months on a Tuesday during a practice night, and it seems like it's a well-oiled machine. So
thanks, man.
Kudos to you.
Appreciate it. And one thing that somebody just saw: stick a fork in SX makeovers on classic track rebuilds like a Louisville. Yeah. I'll fork that.
Yeah, fork it.
I would agree. So we'll stick a fork in that. Leave the classic tracks. If you want to build a supercross track, build it. All right, dudes. We've been going for a little bit over an hour. I think we're going to cut the show shorter tonight. Anything else you guys want to add?
No,
we're drained.
G saved the day.
Yeah, just keep riding, man. Riders got to ride. Whether you're at the track or if
Easy, Tupac.
Ryan's got to ride. Walker like that one. Axel over here, love that one.
but no, in all seriousness, you guys got to go out there and ride your bike. Do some sprints, but more importantly, train with purpose. Configure your goals, And, you know, if you guys go out there just to ride your bike and do it for fun, more power to you. If you guys want to win, make sure you guys train with your goals in mind. And I think you guys are going to enjoy the sport a lot more and be around the sport a lot longer. So
cool. Nick, anything from you?
Nope, stay tuned. See if this beef grows anymore between Vic and I.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next Monday. Thanks for tuning into the video. Sorry about all the drama.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to make sure Sam gets some better internet this week, or he's fired. But
Sam, get it up to what is it, 100 megabyte per second now?
Better than 4.
What is he getting? 3, 2?
Yeah, he's about there. He's about there.
So.
All right, guys. You guys have a good week. We'll catch you next Monday. See ya.
See you guys. Bye bye.